Officer Davis believed he was the law. His badge, his uniform, and his authority gave him a sense of power he wore like a second skin. Over the years, he had grown used to throwing his weight around, often singling out people who didn't meet his standard of belonging. He had rarely been questioned, let alone challenged. But this bright, ordinary afternoon was about to shatter that illusion and change his life forever. Where are you watching this today? Let us know in the comments below. The sun bore down on the asphalt as Davis patrolled the parking lot. His job that day was routine, but he was always on the lookout for someone to make an example of. That's when he spotted it. A sleek black SUV pulling into a parking space near the front. The driver's door opened, and out stepped a tall, elegant woman in a navy pantsuit. Danielle Harper exuded confidence. Her posture was straight, her stride purposeful, and the tailored cut of her suit only added to her commanding presence. She carried a leather briefcase in one hand and a quiet authority in her demeanor. She looked like someone on a mission. Davis narrowed his eyes. He didn't like what he saw, not because she had done anything wrong, but because something about her self-assuredness rubbed him the wrong way. Maybe it was her confidence. Maybe it was the fact that she seemed unbothered by the world around her. Whatever it was, Davis made a split-second decision. She needed to be reminded who was in charge. Straightening his belt, he strode toward her, boots clicking loudly against the pavement. "Ma'am," he called out, his tone sharp and commanding. Danielle paused mid-step and turned to face him, her expression calm but curious. "Yes," she replied, her voice even. "This is a restricted parking area," Davis said, pointing to her vehicle. "You can't park here. I need to see your ID and registration." Danielle glanced around the parking lot, her brow furrowing slightly. There were no signs, no barriers, nothing to suggest the area was restricted. "Restricted?" she asked, her tone polite but firm. "I don't see any signage indicating that." Her composed response seemed to irritate Davis. He wasn't used to people questioning his authority, especially not with such poise. "Don't argue with me," he snapped. "I said it's restricted, and that's all you need to know. Now, either you show me your ID or I'll have your car towed." Danielle tilted her head slightly, studying him. There was no fear in her gaze, only a quiet strength that made Davis feel unsteady. "I'm parked legally," she said after a moment, "and I don't believe I've done anything wrong. Why exactly are you asking for my ID?" Davis felt a flicker of anger rising in his chest. "Because I said so," he retorted, his voice growing louder. "Now stop wasting my time and hand it over." By now, a small crowd had begun to gather, sensing the tension. People lingered nearby, some pretending to check their phones while others openly watched the exchange. A few pulled out their cameras, recording the interaction in silence. Danielle sighed, as if dealing with a minor inconvenience. "All right," she said, reaching into her jacket pocket. Davis tensed, his hand hovering near his holster. His heartbeat quickened. Was she about to pull a weapon? What Danielle pulled out wasn't a weapon. It was a leather badge holder. With a calm flick of her wrist, she flipped it open, revealing the unmistakable gold emblem of the FBI. "My name is Special Agent Danielle Harper," she said firmly. Her voice carried a new weight, an authority that silenced even the murmurs of the onlookers. "And you've just made a very serious mistake." For a moment, Davis was frozen. His eyes darted from her badge to her face and back again, his brain struggling to process what he was seeing. "Special Agent?" he stammered, his voice barely audible. "Yes," Danielle replied, her gaze piercing. "And I suggest you think very carefully about how you proceed from here, officer." The murmurs of the crowd grew louder. "Is she FBI?" someone whispered. "He's in trouble now," another said, holding their phone up to capture every second. Davis felt his face flush. "I didn't know," he stammered, his confidence unraveling. "That much is clear," Danielle said, her tone sharp. "But let me be perfectly clear. Your approach was aggressive, unprofessional, and entirely unwarranted. You assumed I didn't belong here. Why is that?" "I was just doing my job," Davis muttered weakly, avoiding her gaze. "Your job," Danielle said, taking a step closer, "is to serve and protect, not to harass and intimidate. I suggest you reflect on why you felt the need to single me out today." Before Davis could respond, another car pulled into the lot. This one was a sleek black sedan with tinted windows and an FBI insignia emblazoned on the side. A suited man stepped out, his expression serious as he approached. "Agent Harper," he said, nodding respectfully. "Is everything all right?" "It is now," Danielle replied, "but I'll need you to document this incident. Officer Davis here decided to confront me without cause. I have a feeling this isn't the first time he's overstepped his authority." The other agent turned to Davis, his face stern. "Officer, your actions today were completely inappropriate. Misusing your authority, especially against a federal agent, is unacceptable. There will be consequences." By now, Davis was visibly sweating. The weight of his actions and the watchful eyes of the crowd pressed down on him like a heavy burden. He opened his mouth to respond, but found himself at a loss for words. Danielle turned to face him one last time. Her voice was low, but cutting. "You. Let your bias guide your actions today, officer, and it's going to cost you. I suggest you think long and hard about why you felt the need to act the way you did. Next time, it won't just be your badge at stake. It'll be your freedom." With that, she turned on her heel and walked away, her colleague following close behind. The crowd parted to let her pass, some clapping quietly, others murmuring in admiration. Davis stood there frozen, his career and his reputation crumbling before his eyes. By the end of the day, videos of the encounter had gone viral, sparking outrage across social media. People demanded accountability, and the police department was forced to act quickly. Davis was placed on indefinite suspension, pending a full investigation. As for Danielle, she returned to her work unfazed. For her, it was just another day in a career filled with challenges. But to everyone who watched that video, she became a symbol of strength and resilience, a reminder that justice and respect should never be compromised, no matter who you are. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Together, we can spread valuable lessons that remind us of the importance of humility, respect, and human connection.